Showtime! Hello, everyone. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
All right, we are back on our regular schedule. If you tuned in last Monday, we weren't here because we were celebrating Carly's birthday. But I hope you guys got to check out the special 200th episode that we recorded Saturday previously with Banks and Brittany. It was so great getting to hang out with them again. Checking in with our folks in the chat while we get warmed up here. Michael Bingham, first in as always. Thank you for joining us with the Minions Universal Fanfare theme. It's always good to have some music. Hello. In Derek's Corner, Blossom and Michelangelo today. Different Ninja Turtle today. All right, and player, real.
Keep it real.
Real. All right, well, we got a couple dozen people in the chat already, so why don't we and we will say hello to Brian. Sorry, Brian. Wishing you a belated happy birthday. Trader Sam, you didn't make it. Did you make it to Trader Sam's this trip?
I am not a Grotto girl.
No.
I'm a Tambu Lounge girl. So I did go to Tambu on my birthday. But I didn't do, actually I did one shot at La Cava. I was getting like acid reflux because the night.
Wait, that was I could have sworn there was more than only one shot.
Really? One, yeah. I couldn't do any more.
There are a lot of shots going around that night. I quite enjoyed the. I had a non. Well, I guess there was still tequila in it, but it was the colada, the Acapulco colada.
That looked
highly recommend. I've never had that before. Usually I stick with the avocado or the cucumber margarita, but that was a good one. All right, let's do this thing.
Yes.
All right. Without any further ado, let's kick this thing off. Oh, wait, I've still got a comment up. Gonna pull that down. Thank you, Brian. Kick this thing off in 3, 2, and...
Please lower your head and watch your step while boarding.
Welcome to the Attractions Podcast. You are all clear for dispatch. Have fun.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 201 of the Attractions Podcast, sponsored by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. I'm Seth.
I'm Carly.
And we're back again to talk to you about the latest and greatest in theme park news and more, as well as what is going on in our own lives. And last week we did not record our regular episode because a special occasion. Happy belated birthday, Carly. How have you been?
Oh, thank you. And I appreciate you guys coming to celebrate. I had a little birthday shindig at La Cava del Tequila at Epcot. My favorite spot. We took over the high tops in the corner, and it was great. So much fun. It was so good to hang with you in real life.
It was such a good time. Let's just say both of us had virtual queue for Guardians of the Galaxy that went unused that evening. Sorry, couldn't quite make it over there. Sorry, guys.
You know, I think I'm a little nervous to go on Guardians after having a drink. Something about that sounds like a bad idea.
A lot of spinning. It's not a good choice.
Yes, it was awesome. Thank you guys. Thank you, La Cava, for having my little birthday party.
Great hospitality. Thank you.
Yes, it's the great place. Get chips and queso if you go. It was awesome. But now back to earth, back to real life. I actually went this weekend to a new to me theme park.
Oh, where?
Yes, Tweetsy Railroad. Have you ever heard of this?
I never heard of it. Tell us, please.
Yes. It is in the mountains of Northwest North Carolina. It is a Wild West themed amusement park. So think like Knott's Berry Farm, Ghost Town.
Okay.
It opened in the 1950s, and they're known for this really old locomotive steam train. So I got to ride that. And it was the first theme park in North Carolina. And then it was so popular, they built one in Pigeon Forge, and that would become Dollywood. So
interesting.
Yeah. So if you've been on the Dollywood Express, it's actually the same train that this family started there. And it was just such a lovely park. They have, cowboys and Wild Wild West show. And there's a saloon that looks so much like the saloon at Knott's Berry Farm at Calico. If you've been in there, and they have can dancers. It was wonderful. I've always wanted to go there. I've seen so many YouTube videos on it, and it was really cool. It's like a couple hours from Asheville, North Carolina.
Uh-huh. That sounds great. I grew up in New Jersey. We had a place called Wild West City.
Yes, I remember that.
Yes, a city running wild, as the commercials used to say. And you could see it was the same sort of thing with stagecoach rides and seeing the sheriff shooting the bandits in the street. So I've always had a soft spot for those kind of 1950s Old West attractions. So that sounds
so
great.
Cool. Yeah, it was definitely a gem. They said it's a lot of like multi-generational families come. They do the annual pass. So fun. Yeah, it was a good time. It was just, I wanted to check it off badly. So it was awesome.
That sounds awesome. Well, obviously the highlight of my week was getting to hang out with you at your birthday. And I also got to check out a new attraction at one of the theme parks that we are going to be talking about a little bit later in the show. So I will save that for a little bit later. But right now it is time for us to dive into the news in the queue. All right, first up, Universal Studios Hollywood has officially announced what we've heard rumors about for a while. They are building a new roller coaster that will be a Fast and Furious attraction that will finally actually be Fast and Furious. Ever since they built the 3D tunnel on the tram tour out and the studio tour at Hollywood, and then kind of copied it here in Orlando, everyone has been saying, you can't do Fast and Furious sitting still looking at a screen. It's a series about moving fast, and now finally fans will be able to move fast on a Fast and the Furious roller coaster.
Yes, maybe the worst kept secret ever, because I think it's now been about a year and a half since someone found the permits.
Yes.
And then they've done fun stuff. Like when I was there in April, they had the audio loop of roller coaster screams going on.
Yes.
It was so cool. Yeah.
We are used to when they're planning a new ride at the theme park, you see balloons go up to see what the height of it'll be, or you'll see people doing surveying. Not very often that they set up speakers of people screaming to see how much nosebleed there'll be. But if that's not a sign that a thrill ride is coming, I don't know what is. Sadly, for fans of the animal actor stage and the special effects stage, those long-running venues have been torn down, demolished in the process right now. It's kind of sad to see the special effects stage, which I believe that goes back to like the old Dracula theater, the Conan show. That's a lot of classic attractions were in there, and now that will be I guess the loading station will probably be there. There's actually already renderings. People have done fan-made recreations online of what the ride might look like. There's been pretty detailed construction permit filings showing the track and the footers, so it's pretty easy to make educated guesses about what it's going to look like. It's going to kind of run up and over the escalator, down the hill. It's really, cramming it in there. Universal's built on the side of a mountain, and there's not a lot of spare space. So to stick in a roller coaster that basically looks like a cousin to the Velocicoaster in there, we don't know the exact model or anything yet. That's not confirmed, but it does look very similar in style to the Velocicoaster. However, we have had some rumors that the cars on this might rotate or spin to give a drifting or sliding motion. Obviously, no confirmation yet on that, but we're going to be keeping a watch on this. Are you going to be lining up to ride this on opening day?
I am going to join the family. I'm wearing the whole shirt. I think I might do the bald cap. I love Universal Studios Hollywood. It is one of my favorite parks. There's a charm to it that is just unlike any other park. And their collection of rides, while they may not have as much as Orlando, they have the best version of Jurassic. They have Secret Life of Pets, which is one of my favorite dark rides in the entire country. So what they do is so good. Their character interaction is top notch. So to add this, Mummy is technically a roller coaster. They have Flight in Harry Potter, but like a legit, real deal roller coaster. Huge.
Well, and Disney's got the Incredicoaster, which is a pretty decent coaster by Disney standards. But other than that, you got to go to like Magic Mountain in SoCal if you want a serious coaster. So this will definitely elevate Universal Hollywood's coaster game. And I would hope that once they open this, that frees them up to do something better than the current finale of the studio tour. Maybe it's time to replace the that dance party, the Musin hologram with the
I enjoy it. Like, I don't know why. Maybe it's just I like dance.
You enjoy it ironically or unironically?
Ironically.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I gotta say, in Florida, the only part of it that I can genuinely enjoy is the Rocky Horror treatment that the pre-show employees have given. Like the actors in the pre-show they know exactly what kind of ride they're in, and they just kind of mercilessly rip at it.
Yeah,
it's my favorite part now.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, and next up, in other Universal Orlando news, it file this one also under things we already knew. DreamWorks Animation is officially taking over Kid Zone. Kid Zone closed quite a while ago at Universal Orlando. Fievel has been torn down, but E.T. and Animal Actors remain. And we knew it already, but now we have it officially that Shrek, Kung Fu Panda, and Trolls will be featured in the new land opening in 2024.
Yeah, and just Universal Orlando, I feel like, has been so aggressive in a good way with updating things, new things. We have Minion Land coming the next month, I guess, officially. Now this, and then especially, they're obviously listening to feedback. There haven't been a lot for little kids to do at Universal Orlando. I just waited. The height requirements are for most attractions. It's not like Disneyland. So they're listening, they're adapting, and this is exciting. I think it's going to be great. It was obviously sad to see Fievel go. That was like my childhood.
Yeah.
In the late 80s and early 90s. That was a bummer. I'll miss the water slide. But this is good. This is really, really good. And I believe that they're going to keep on the time schedule. And it's crazy. Like, next year, we are going to have a new land.
Oh yeah, things are moving there. It's going to happen. We still don't have a month or even a season. It's just we know 2024, but we can see activity happening there very quickly. Something interesting: the concept art that they released. There's actually a slightly wider version of this available on one of their PR sites. That clearly shows this object to the right is still the Woody Woodpecker roller coaster that has been repainted and rethemed to Trolls. The rumored name is the Troller Coaster, which you just gotta love that.
Love it.
But and then just a little bit further to the right here is what is clearly a Shrek swamp meet and greet and playground area. So that's basically going where Fievel was. That's going to be Shrek. So Trolls around the roller coaster. And the rumor is that the back corner where Curious George was, that is taking over by Kung Fu Panda. It looks like the ball pit area, the indoor area, has not been torn down yet. So then maybe that'll remain in some form. And we've seen patents about an interactive Kung Fu Panda noodle shop meet and greet where you can interact with a character. So that's all definitely coming. They also mentioned a character that I have no relationship to, Gabby's Dollhouse.
Same.
I guess if you have a 5-year-old that watches Netflix, you know who Gabby's Dollhouse is. But as I scroll down here, sorry, you can see this is a very small version of it, but this is the slightly wider version of the art that I was talking about, and you can see Shrek here and Donkey in the corner, and also the top of the Troller Coaster.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those places where parents are going to bring their kids, and it's going to be impossible to
to drag
drive
them
out
out.
of here.
You are absolutely right. One thing, someone who's been writing about Universal for many, many years, Universal, especially Universal Studios Florida, is not a friendly place to kids. If you're under about 44 inches in height,
Mhm.
there ain't a lot for you to do at
Right.
Universal Studios Florida. And between this and the Minion attraction that we're going to talk about in just a little bit, this is kind of a new era of them maybe refocusing on all ages, all heights attractions for the studios. IOA did a great job of including playgrounds in each land.
Mhm.
So even if you have thrill rides that are too big for the little kids, they've got something like Me Ship the Olive or Camp Jurassic right there that they can play with. The studios has kind of always created this, this little shtetl, this little cul-de-sac for kids that was Kid Zone. My big question, which I'm sure will not be officially answered until after my new book goes to the publisher, is
Always.
what are we calling the area where E.T. and Animal Actors and SpongeBob SquarePants is? I don't know if DreamWorks is going to want to just lump them in with, since they are not part of their IP. Unless we rebranded the Animal Actors show as DreamWorks Animals. I'm not sure how that would work.
No. Yeah. I can
Yeah,
see that. Yeah.
I my
Maybe
my
just Kid
my
Zone land.
well, unless they want to if they want to get rid of the name Kid Zone, you've already got the NBC Media Center right there. That is considered part of Hollywood, so they could simply extend the border of Hollywood around Animal Actors. Could call that Hollywood. E.T. That's a movie. We'll call
Right.
that part of Hollywood, and just stretch Hollywood all the way up to the border. So you have Hollywood meeting Springfield, meeting DreamWorks, sort of in three-way. I'm sure they will do that just in order to make the maps in my book wrong. So
Yeah.
looking forward to it. Looking
Yes.
forward to it.
Always.
All right.
You know-
Well, as we said, this opens in 2024, and I'm sure we will have more information coming out. Until then, you can still visit ET and SpongeBob. They are still open for operation. Next up, in more Universal Studios news, this one both in Hollywood and in Orlando, Stranger Things is coming back to Halloween Horror Nights. Beware of Vecna, because season 4 of Stranger Things is going to come to life this Halloween.
Oh, I'm a little nervous. I mean, I'm so excited. Love Stranger Things, but season 4 is terrifying. So scary. This house is going to be insane.
Yeah. We got Stranger Things season 1.
Mhm.
Then we got one that was kind of a combination of
2 and 3,
seasons
yeah.
2 and 3.
Mhm.
Then they took a little break, which is like good, I think, because like they ran Walking Dead into the ground by doing
Yeah.
it too many years in a row. And no matter how great a show is, and Stranger Things is if you want a crossover, if you want something that gets both mainstream audiences and hardcore horror fans to both want to come to Halloween Horror Nights, can't pick a better brand right now.
Absolutely.
So yes, we are once again going back to Hawkins, Indiana, to encounter the newest supernatural villain, Vecna, who is hell-bent on obliterating the volatile barrier between the eerie Upside Down and our real world. So the new house will mirror the events of season 4. Letting you follow 11, Max, Eddie. Thank God Eddie's in there. He better be standing on a van playing guitar.
He's the icon of the season.
Right. Places you're going to visit include the notorious Hawkins Lab, the enigmatic Creel House, and Vecna's chilling mindscape. So this is going to be a good one. It's going to be part of both Halloweens, both in Hollywood and in Orlando. And we've gotten more ticket information, especially about Orlando recently. The Frequent Fear, the Rush of Fear, all of those are on sale now. Stay and Scream is back, or Scream Early. Which do they call it here? I can never remember. It goes back and forth.
I still call it Stay and Scream.
Stay
So
and Scream.
we could just go.
Which is really, if you do not have the money to buy express passes, if you want to see more than like 3 or 4 houses in the entire night, you either got to buy express passes or, spring for RIP tour, or you do the Stay and Scream. You get into the park early and you use that early entry period to knock out. You can usually knock out, 2, 3, 4 houses right in that first hour or so. And that
Absolutely.
can
As
make
long as
a
we're
huge
gameful.
difference.
Mhm.
Of course, they've raised the price. It's now up to $40 on
Yes.
that ticket. But I actually think that $40 is maybe a better investment than the 150 something that you can be spending on express passes.
Definitely. I think Stay and Scream. I mean, I guess I just do it with my AP, but like hanging out
Yep,
over
exactly.
like a Shea Alcatraz drink, hang
Yep.
out by that little Stay and Scream zone by Richter's. And I think last year, like I had made a plan. I'm like, I'm gonna do Blumhouse, Bugs,
Yep.
and I
Yeah,
think
that was a great
I
one
didn't
last
do
year.
Express. Yeah.
If you wanted to do the Blumhouse double feature, hanging out in the Richter's, Shea Alcatraz area was great.
Yeah.
There's usually one over by the Simpsons. You get some food in Food Boulevard or at the taco truck, grab a beer. Of course, old school, I'm a fan of settling in at the bar at Finnegan's.
Yes. Oh my God.
Nothing beats Finnegan's, but it has gotten harder. It's so popular. They don't really let you just kind of hang out. They kind of shove you through. If
Right.
you can manage to get in there and get a table, it's hard to get a reservation for that period of time. But if you can manage to get a table in there, that's awesome. Because if it starts raining, which it often does,
Yeah.
if then you get some place to hide, and you've got quickest access to the soundstage houses. Yeah, those are all definite ways of taking advantage of the Scream Early or the Stay and Scream, and
Absolutely.
highly recommend it. If you
Yeah.
want to relive Stranger Thing haunted houses of past, can't believe it was 2018 that we got the first one.
I
Wow.
remember it
Does not seem that
vividly.
long ago. Wow.
Yes, it was crazy because the casting is so good.
Yeah.
I just remember I will never forget going through it for the first time in 2018, and I'm like, "It looks like them." It was crazy. They really knocked it out of the park, so I'm excited.
Yeah, we've got videos from 2018 and 2019 houses. So go and check those out on our YouTube channel. All right, on a slightly lighter note, let's talk some Disney Junior. Over
Good.
at the Disneyland Resort this August, they are going to be celebrating Disney Junior and Friends with a 3-day play date. Celebrating Disney Junior's hit TV series. That's running from my birthday, August 18th,
Yes.
all the way through August 20th. If they liked, they could fly me out there and I could see it. That would be a nice birthday present.
Yes. I love this dance party. It is like so high energy. It's
Yeah.
so funny. Like I'll go in sometimes by myself and just like get some air conditioning and just bop around. It's so fun what they do with it.
It's funny you mentioned that. So I check out every attraction at Disneyland, whether it's meant for me or not.
Yeah.
At least once a year. And this is one where when I'm out there, I do my annual inspection of Disney Junior,
Yeah.
and I always feel a little awkward as a
Yes.
single man, usually holding a camera, because I'm trying to take pictures and notes and stuff. And yeah, standing in the back with not there with a kid, sometimes feel a little creepy. But the performers in this show really go all out. I do kind of miss the days when this had puppets. I don't know if anyone remembers. That's going back almost 10 years that they had used puppets on the show. But now they've got 2 kind of dancing DJ characters, and then they bring out a costume character for each segment. And they update the show periodically with whatever the newest series is.
Yeah.
So,
it is very fun. Check it out for sure.
For sure. So, like I mentioned, this kicks off on August 18th. They are going to have at Disney California Adventure Park Playday Party Parade with Mickey and Minnie, Doc McStuffins, Sophia the First, Elena of Avalor, Donald and Daisy, Vampirina, who's my favorite, Winnie the Pooh, Tigger, Goofy, Pluto, and Miral, a royal detective. I don't know that last character, but they will all be parading through DCA. There's also going to be a special stage show, and they're going to have the world premiere of a new Disney Junior short form series called Playdate with Winnie the Pooh. There'll be cupcake decorating experience. Spidey and his amazing friends are going to have a photo wall. There'll be more special food and beverage offerings, including a special Tigger marshmallow tail. And then the party is going to continue on the 19th and the 20th with live entertainment in downtown Disney. And so if you are in Disneyland on the 18th through the 20th, be sure to check all that out. And next up, so we had sad news earlier this summer when the Phantasmic Dragon had he decided he was tired of being a dragon and wanted to be a phoenix instead. So while Murphy is being reconstituted, we've got some new entertainment taking over Disneyland's Rivers of America instead of Phantasmic. Guest favorite Queenie and the Jambalaya Jazz Band. They have returned. They are going to be performing New Orleans jazz music on a floating stage accompanied by fountain and lighting effects. This is happening every evening at 7:35, 8:25, and 9:05 p.m. In Disneyland Park. Check the Disneyland app for those show times.
I love it. The entertainment over there is so great. I love when they have that pirates group that comes around singing. So this is very fun and a good way to get us hyped for what's coming.
And they are also performing Wondrous Journeys now through August 31st. And then that will be taken over by Halloween Screams for all of September and October. And those shows take place after the final Jambalaya Jazz Band show of each night. We don't have a return date for Phantasmic. If this was in Orlando, they would be screens. Oh, it looks like I briefly lost my internet.
Yes.
But I'm back. Okay, and I'm back. But yes, so in Orlando, I think they would probably just keep doing the show with a projection instead of the dragon. But either the dragon is a really big part of the show out in California.
Mm-hmm.
And also, we don't know for sure what other kind of infrastructure damage might still need repairing there. So while it's disappointing that there won't be Phantasmic for the foreseeable future, hopefully that show will come back maybe in the new year.
Right. And there's plenty of other nighttime offerings there. So it feels like not as, I know people love it, not as big as a deal.
Yeah. So that brings us to our last story. And we are going to step away from Disney and Universal and go to the Heartland with big surprising news that a new theme park is opening in Oklahoma in 2026. A $2 billion resort, and among its featured lands will include the classic children's tale Charlotte's Web.
Yes, this was crazy news last week. I was like...
Did not see this one coming.
Did not see it coming. We usually hear rumors of stuff. Never saw it coming. it's a lot. We don't know. They still have to raise the money. So this could all just be a pipe dream. I hope it's not, because it's great to have destinations where people can drive to and they don't have to fly to LA. They don't have to fly to Orlando, because that's just not realistic for everyone.
And honestly, this is part of an increasing trend that we are seeing. We've seen several big projects in Texas. We keep seeing the Florida and the California, everything's got to be in Florida or California. That era is done, I think. The resorts that are in those locations are, in many ways kind of built out and have to tear down old things in order to build new things in many cases. And the place for new expansion, new growth, really seems to be in the center of the country, not on the coasts right now.
Absolutely.
So this is going to be located in Northeast Oklahoma near Vinita. It's on Route 66, the classic Route 66, not far from Interstate 44. So good access. And this is going to be known as American Heartland Theme Park and Resort. It's 1,000 acres, so it's a pretty sizable property. And it's going to open in 2 phases. Phase 1 is going to be a 300-acre, 3 Ponies RV park and campground. This is going to open up in spring of 2025. So right around the time that Epic Universe is probably in soft opens. And then in 2026, probably the fall of 2026, that's when we're going to see a 125-acre theme park open. And 125 acres puts it, right on the same level of an Islands of Adventure or an Epcot or a Magic Kingdom. And that's a big chunk of land.
Absolutely. So it's not a micro park.
No, not at all. This is not at all. This is a full-scale theme park. And we will walk through, if you want details on this, I really encourage you to go to attractionsmagazine.com and read the whole article, because, we could spend an entire hour talking about this. But the important things to know is, one, they've got some real experienced, talented people working on this project.
Yes.
Folks who built things like Jurassic World The Ride and Secret Life of Pets at Universal Hollywood, and Port of Entry in Islands of Adventure, and a lot of big projects around the world are involved in this, at least on the design side.
And I think that's the exciting thing, at least for me, of what we're seeing with these new concepts. Like, I just went to Kathmandu. They enlisted like the top of the top. So it's exciting that we see these smaller footprint concepts, but they're not sacrificing on the level of talent and creativity that go into it, which is amazing.
Absolutely. So real quick, phase 1 is that RV park. It's going to have 750 RV spaces with all the accoutrements, not just power and water, but also cable and Wi-Fi. They also have 300 cabins if you want to go glamping. And this is going to be the largest campground in the central United States. It's suspiciously similar to Fort Wilderness at Walt Disney World, down to the fact that they have a Frontier Hall dinner show.
I will be there.
Yes, it sounds very hoop-to-dooey. But the phase 2 is, I think, what we're really interested in. This is the new theme park. They've got a whole website that walks you through it. But my gosh, if this isn't Disney's Magic Kingdom 2.0, I don't know what is. We start out in Liberty Village, which is definitely a Main Street USA that is set in like maybe the 1940s. We've got some vintage automobiles here. Looks like an old kind of soda fountain drugstore. It's also got a kind of Philadelphia vibe because there's a recreation of the Liberty Bell. But that's a very Main Street USA look. We've got the Great Plains area, which honestly looks straight out of the Disney's America that was supposed to be built in Virginia way back when. And that's where you've got Charlotte's Web, which I assume is going to be maybe some sort of dark ride. It looks like we've got a wooden roller coaster in the background, and we've also got Barnstormers, which I'm betting is going to be some sort of flying simulator, flying theater attraction. And the Great Plains First American Stories Theater, which looks an awful lot like the Mystery Lodge at Knott's Berry Farm.
Yes.
Then we come to Bayou Bay, and if this isn't Adventureland, I don't know what is. It's got mystery, magic, and cutest critters this side of the Mississippi. So it's got a tree house. It's got, or I guess they are calling it a voodoo house, a pirate stunt show, and a swamp thrill ride. Anyone want to know what they want to call Frontierland here? We're calling it Big Timber Falls, and it's got a log flume ride. But this log flume, instead of having Song of the South or Princess Tiana, is going to have Bigfoot.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Very excited for that.
Now, this one, I think they just grabbed this one from Tokyo Disney Sea. This one's called Stony Point Harbor. And it is a nautically themed area with seafood dining and looks like a pirate ghost themed dark ride. And finally, what's our last land?
Electropolis.
Or Tomorrowland.
Yes.
Yes, visit Electro City or Progress City. No, Electro City with a flat ride, very similar to Carowinds' new Gear Spin ride. A what looks like a Velocicoaster style roller coaster that I will bet will be launched, and a drop tower that's kind of styled like a big Tesla tower. So yeah, this is it's not a small park. It does not look like a cheap park. I'm not going to say it looks like the most original, innovative park in the world, but hey, if you're going to copy something, you might as well copy the most successful theme park in the world, right?
Absolutely.
And don't forget, right outside, just next door, you're going to have a 4-star hotel with 300 rooms, which will be a place where, quote, the age of romance lives on.
I love it. Sounds like a turn of the century boardwalk.
Yes, that looks very much like Disney's boardwalk area. Scenic outdoor dining, and what basically looks like the DreamWorks water park, indoor water park from the American Dream Mall, tacked onto the back of this. So yeah, this is a huge deal. As we mentioned, designers include over 20 alumni of Disney and Disney Imagineering. THG Group, like I said, done a lot of work for Universal. Forek, who helped build Port of Entry. Cunningham Group, big names in hotel and casino. So not amateur hour. It's a big investment, and it will be really exciting to see how this completely transforms that area.
Absolutely. And, I saw a lot of comments that were like, who wants to go to this part of the country, blah, blah, blah. And, realistic, a lot of people can't afford to go put their whole family on a flight. Flights are so expensive right now, but they could drive. Yep. So the fact that this is positioned just like perfectly in the middle of everything, this could be a major win.
Yep. This investment is expected to bring more than 4,000 jobs to the area. And will have a impact not only on, as the state senator from Oklahoma, Michelle Bergstrom said, not only to the surrounding area, but also throughout the region and the state. So this is a project that we will be keeping a close eye on in 2025 and 2026. All right, that just about brings us to the end of the news in the queue. Before we leap into this week's big story, though, it is time to hear a word from our sponsors.
The Attractions Podcast is brought to you by MEI and Mousefan Travel. Whether your next vacation is a magical trip to the theme parks, an exciting adventure to the pyramids of Egypt, or just a relaxing cruise on the turquoise waters of the Bahamas, MEI Travel provides premium service and expert advice to help you get the most of your vacation. They are always free of any hidden fees or costs to you. Visit them at mei-travel.com.
It's time for the main attraction!
All right, and for this week's main attraction, yes, you guessed it. We've got a new attraction at Universal Orlando currently in technical rehearsals or soft opening. It's VillainCon Minion Blast. I have been on it about a dozen times.
Oh.
I've got opinions. First, let's share the facts, and then we'll dive into the opinions, shall we? All
Yeah.
right. So this went into soft opening, I believe, last Saturday, the 15th, I think. 15th or the 16th. I know that I had been on it when I saw you on Monday, the 17th. So this is Illumination's VillainCon Minion Blast, and it has guests vying to be part of the Vicious Six by showing off their shooting skills in a fairly unique format. It is not it's a ride, but there's no ride vehicle because you step onto a moving walkway, and you are the ride vehicle. You stand and you move past scenes, shooting at screens. Trying to cause as much mayhem as you can with your Eliminator X blaster in hopes of joining the Vicious Six. And spoiler alert, no one gets to join the Vicious Six, no matter how good you do. They still just tell you, oh, go try again, get back in line, try again. So here are some of the cool things that make this ride a little unique and different other than the moving walkway. The rifles actually have two different weapons, two different kinds of ammo. You've got an unlimited single shot blaster, which is your standard ammo, and you can actually upgrade that by shooting at special these glowing blocks that you see throughout the ride. You can upgrade by hitting those. And then you've got a launcher that's got a limited amount of ammo, and you reload that by hitting these floating crates. And you can get different weapons like freeze rays or banana bombs or nunchucks. And so you've got those, you got to kind of manage your ammo. You've got those two different kinds of weapons, and you are facing off against the 5 members of the Vicious Six. If you've seen the movie, you know what happened to the 6th member. And they are voiced by the original voice actors, including Danny Trejo and Lucy Lawless and even Jean-Claude Van Damme. So that's cool that they got them for both in the game itself, and it's honestly kind of hard to understand what anyone is saying because there's so much stuff going on. But they're also in the pre-show. There's a new animation that you watch while standing in line, pre-show queue videos that's got some really fun stuff in it. There's a neat little, it's very short indoor queue. You're probably only in the indoor portion for about 5 minutes, but it's got some great Easter eggs. They're like trade show booths from the VillainCon. They're not really interactive, but they've got lots of little details and things to take selfies with. And right now, since the ride is in technical rehearsals, it doesn't sync up to Universal's app. But when it's all ready, you'll be able to log into the app and tap your phone against the gun that you get, and it'll track your score. You'll be able to get badges, track trophies, and things like that, which should help make it a little bit more replayable.
Definitely. And
Yeah.
the Universal app has always been very far behind, say like Disney's app, but I feel like Universal,
they try, but
they try. But they have no choice now because with Super Nintendo World coming and how much that's dependent, this is good,
And the Super Nintendo World features in the Hollywood app are great, but it almost feels like when you tap on that, it almost feels like you're going into a completely new app. Like it's like an app within an app that you're sort of totally different look and feel and function as the rest of the Universal app. I'm curious if if it someday becomes more like Disney's Play app, where it's all kind of more integrated. We'll see.
Yeah.
For now, waiting for that feature to be turned on. In the meantime, like I said, I've done the ride a dozen or so times. The good news is that it seems to move pretty efficiently. I've sat there and timed how quickly the dots move when everything is working correctly, when it doesn't pause. Uh, they can move, I think, about 1,440 people maximum an hour through it. However, they've only been running it at about 4/5 capacity. They fill about 4 dots or 1 party, and then they leave an empty dot. And that is a lot of that is because the computers that run the big screens just can't handle having every single one filled. Even leaving a few of them, about 20% of it empty, there's still frame rate issues. If you've ever, if you've got an older computer, or you've tried, playing an Xbox Series S and tried to make it run in 4K on, something with ray tracing, if you know what frame rate stuttering looks like, they got issues.
Mhm.
The experience, I will say, compared to Toy Story Mania or
Men in Black.
Web Slingers.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking more things that are computer based
Okay.
digitally. Web Slingers or Toy Story Mania. Every once in a while there is a very brief glitch, but for the most part, the gameplay is smooth and consistent. And it's clear what you're doing, what your objective is, which your shots are. And if you're hitting or if you're not hitting, you get feedback to know what's going on. Minion Blast, at least in the form it is right now, and I will say that I've seen people, part of the creative team, testing and adjusting and tweaking it. So this is still in technical rehearsals, but in the form it is right now, it's just not much fun to play because there's just stuff exploding everywhere, and you don't get any sense that what you're doing, it matters. Like I've been in there where my gun just stopped working, and it's pretty much the same experience because things are just blowing up around you without any real sense. And your trigger, your target, your little crosshair is always kind of lagging or off target, or it never really feels like it's responding quickly and accurately to what you're doing. With Men in Black, when you pull that trigger and you get that distinctive sound and light, you know exactly if you hit or if you miss as soon as you pull that trigger. And with Minion Blast, there are times where there's just so much stuff going on all over the screen, so many things exploding, and your gun is just constantly vibrating the same whether you hit or missed. It's just pure sensory overload, but a good game needs to make you feel like you're accomplishing something, like you're in charge, like it's responding to you. And this is just pure mayhem. So they've already done some things to try to improve on it. They they had these coins that when you hit something, a coin would appear, and the coin would just stay there until someone shot it. And by pretty soon, the whole screen's full of coins. And so now they're making the coins so that they stay there for a few seconds and then they disappear. Little tweaks like that, great. But I really think that on a fundamental level of gameplay, I'm not even talking about the technical programming, but I'm talking about game design, of making something fun and addictive. I think they still have a lot of work to do.
Interesting. This kind of reminds me, because I'm obsessed with Men in Black, because I feel that, I'm a part of it. You can really see what you're shooting. But then on the other hand, like Buzz Lightyear at Magic Kingdom, I cannot stand that ride because I can't see what I'm shooting.
Yeah.
Hardly ever goes off. And it's like, I don't even ride that anymore because I guess I need that feel like I'm accomplishing something. And, Midway Mania, you definitely feel that. And that is so easy, cut and clear. Like you're shooting plates, whatnot. So that is interesting. I am waiting to go on this until it officially opens. So hopefully it will be a smoother
Yeah.
experience.
Well, it's you brought up an excellent point. Buzz Lightyear is a perfect example of how you can have two nearly identical attractions that feel much different. The one in California I love because you can hold the gun, you can move the gun wherever you want, and you feel feedback when you shoot. It's very identifiable with lights, with sound, whether you hit it or not. The one in Florida, because the guns are just stuck to the car and you have to
Right.
rotate around, you never really feel like you've got a good sense of aiming, or where you're shooting at and what you're doing. Um, Toy Story Mania, you've got you and the person next to you, and you were looking at a screen. But imagine if you also had 20 other people all shooting at that exact same screen at the exact
Confusing.
same time,
Yeah.
with all that going on. It's not a personal experience anymore. It's just, it's like if you're at a shooting gallery and every single gun is filled, and all it is things going off over the place, but you don't know what you did.
Yeah.
I think it's still got potential. There's some fun things in it. Spoiler alert: the big finale takes place outside of Universal, and you can like shoot at the Universal arch and the IOA
Very cool.
tower. Though the geography makes no sense whatsoever. It's like everything's moved around. Doesn't make any sense, but that's fine. There's so much mayhem and overstimulation that you lose a lot of the humor. There's not a lot to laugh at because there's just things blowing up, but it doesn't have the kind of Minion humor the same way the Despicable Me ride across the street does.
Interesting. Yeah.
So
So I'm wondering if the first time I go on it, I'm gonna play. I'm wondering if
yes.
the experience will be more fun if you just watch as you go.
Well, it's interesting. The one issue that they have discovered is the guns are surprisingly heavy. They're about 4 pounds, and that might not sound like a lot, but if you are a little kid holding a 4 pound weight for almost 6 minutes, it's a pretty long ride. It's almost 6 minutes by the time you get off. That can be a challenge for some kids, and I did see some kids complaining that they were having trouble holding it up. So they offer the toy gun that they sell out in the gift shop, which does not interact with the ride at all. They'll just hand the toy gun to kids and tell them, pretend you're playing. And they seem to have just as much fun as the people whose guns actually work.
That's how I feel with like Smuggler's Run now. I used to always want to be the pilot. Now I just want to sit in the back,
Nope.
be the engineer, hit a
Too
freaking
much work.
button once.
Too much work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and just enjoy it. I have to tell you, so there is a blaster game at the new Kathmandu Park in Punta
Yes,
Cana.
I've heard of it.
It was one of my favorites because you're in a theater, so it's interactive seats, so you're probably playing with like 30 people. But what I loved is your blaster has a clear target on the screen with your seat number there. So
Okay.
I love that I could actually really see, even though I'm with a bunch of people, where my gun was going and what I was doing. And that made it one of my favorite blaster
helps. That
attractions
really helps.
ever. Yeah, because you really I need to see what I'm shooting.
Well, when you go to Minion Blast, here's a little tip for you and for our listeners. They don't really explain this terribly well, but when they hand you the gun, there's a brief period of time between when they hand you the gun and when you actually step onto the belt. And for a few moments in that period of time, the little round screen on your gun itself will show a symbol. It'll light up with a color and it'll show a symbol. It might be a face or an eye or an X or something. So remember that color and that symbol. That's your targeting thing on the screen throughout the rest of the ride. They don't really do a great job of pointing that out to you. It's easy to miss.
To know that. Yeah, I need to feel like I accomplished something.
Yes, exactly. And here's okay. So if you want to try to score bonus points, and this comes from our friend Alicia Stella over at Orlando Park Stop. She cued me into this. So you shoot one of the big glowing boxes in order to upgrade your normal blaster. then when you see one of the vicious six, one of the big bad guys,
Mhm.
you shoot them with that ammo until they make a crate appear above their head. Now you shoot that crate, and then you hit the launcher button, and that is how you get extra bonus points.
So that's how she's
So
gotten all those points.
exactly. She's yes, she is working her way to the top of the leaderboard.
This sounds like a lot
Very
of work. I'm
it
being
is. It
honest. Like,
is challenging. Well, I really like Men in Black because there's so many little hidden bonus things. Things to look like
love
for
it.
like the alien with the Steven Spielberg head or the
Mhm.
pug in the newsstand window, and knowing where those little sensors are and where to hit them is kind of part of the fun. So as time goes on, I think people maybe will discover more Easter eggs and hidden bonuses in this ride, and that'll help give it some more replayability.
So do
Like
you
I
get a
said, there's
minion suit if you do well?
yes, at the end, and they give you overalls, right? No, unfortunately not. That's one thing I really miss. I think that the conveyor belt idea was great in concept, but the problem is that means that everything has to be constantly moving at the same pace, and there's no real differentiation between screen scenes or moments. So it makes it really hard to pace a ride. There's no
Mhm.
intimacy to it. You can't have a moment like facing off against the other players in the scanners in Men in Black. um, it's just a constant parade of people. Uh, I, I I I wrote a review where I likened it to playing the boss battle in a video game, but you can never ever win. You just keep shooting at them,
Interesting.
but they never die. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they continue to improve it and tweak it. And I can't wait to hear your report because I think you're going to be at the media day, right?
Maybe. Yes, yes,
Maybe,
yes.
hopefully. All right, fingers
Yeah,
crossed.
I am excited. Yeah, I mean, I went to Minion Cafe, had some delicious food, but I was like, let me just wait on this.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, if you want to read more about the attraction or leave us your opinion in the comments, please head on over to attractionsmagazine.com. And I think that is just about going to bring us to the end of another episode. But before we go, let us take a look back at some of the comments that we received while we were talking. And starting out with uh, Michael Bingham, our friend, saying that it's going to be very interesting what Universal Hollywood does with Fast and the Furious
Yep.
Supercharged in the backlot when the ride opens. Absolutely. Will there be 2 Fast and Furious attractions? Is that one family too many in one theme
Never
park?
enough.
Yes. We'll have to find out. Magic City Mayhem pointing out that Shrek's outhouse has gone vertical. Yes, just in the last 48 hours or so, we have vertical construction in DreamWorks Land,
Mhm.
DreamWorks Land, DreamWorks Zone. I
I'm
like
still
I like
calling
DreamWorks
land.
Dreamland. DreamWorks Dreamland.
Ooh,
That's what
I
I
like
like.
that.
Magic City Mayhem is proposing Amblin Land
Fun.
for ET and animal actors. I kind of like that,
Same.
and an excellent piece of advice. If you want to be safe from Vecna, you need to listen to your happy music. Put on the Attractions podcast while going through the house, so that they don't get you. I'm gonna try that. And Vince Lamb finally came in a little late, so he wants to wish you a belated happy
Thank
birthday.
you.
Thank you very much, Vince. Appreciate it. Well, before we go, we want to thank, as always, our sponsors, MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. I want to remind everyone out there, please give us a rating and review wherever you listen to us, whether that's Apple Podcasts or Spotify or somewhere else. And please follow us at attractionsmagazine.com. Search for us at Attractions Magazine on your favorite social media platforms. And Carly, as always, you can find me at sethkabursky.com. Carly, where can folks find you?
Yes, I am at Carly Caramana on Twitter and Adventures by Carly on Instagram.
And until next week, we hope you folks stay safe, try something new, and most importantly, have fun. We will see you again next time. Bye.